Hey, good morning, everyone. And, the world we live in now, I feel like I need to explain myself before I even introduce myself. So I do have laryngitis. I am COVID negative. I've had a lot of tests done and pretty confident I'm not contagious with everything. But, that is the world, isn't it? The world that we live in today. I asked the team, what's the brief for today? There's some really fantastic speakers, far more interesting than me. What do you want me to talk about? And overwhelmingly they said, tell them all the cool stuff we've been up to, but keep it under 15 minutes. It's quite an ask, guys. It's been a very, very busy time of recent at MSD. There is a lot going on, but today I thought I would concentrate on some of the questions that I get asked the most. One is about our expanding team and how does that impact you guys as veterinarians, our key stakeholders in New Zealand. Why the technology interest? Why does a large pharmaceutical company invest in technology like it is and still maintain their focus on the biopharma R&D? What is that all about? The third one is about sustainability, and I want to share with you what sustainability means to us. And then lastly, about our manufacturing footprint here in New Zealand. So when I find the clicker, which I believe might be this one, I'll kick into it. Yeah, so that's me. So I head up the livestock business unit in New Zealand. So that is all of our animal health, veterinary medicines, animal identification, traceability, and also our technology arm, milking intelligence and monitoring business in New Zealand. A very growing footprint here in New Zealand. So what I wanted to share with you is a pretty busy slide, but what does our business look like? And we are really investing in strengthening our service model to you, our service model to your customers, the farmers, and making sure that we make the most of what we can. Now we've come out of the COVID situation, and we've also learned that actually providing a really slick service is not all about bringing in morning teas and popping in. And those of you that are clinic managers here, COEs, probably get what I'm saying. You want quality input into your business model. And for me personally, that's something that I believe that we really should focus on in the veterinary model. So there's basically 4 core parts of our business. Up there in the blue, there is the technology arm of our business. This makes up about 25 people, and some of you who have invested heavily in the Allflex monitoring and dairy medicine, you'll know a lot of this team. So they're on farm, they're about providing installs, it's the milking intelligence, looking to harvest that data that's coming off farms, putting it in a way that makes sense to drive your business model. Below that is the animal health, which is the animal health treatments and also traceability and identification. And we have a dedicated vet channel. So this is our sales reps that hopefully you all know and are calling on you and providing quality input into your clinics. And we also have a separate group that is very much on our animal identification and our large OTC stores. So we keep that separate from our veterinary channel now. Up the top there in the light green is the products support and after sales training. This is a growing team. And like I said, we're looking at ways to connect with you more smartly, use our resources more smartly. And this is around our group of our field veterinarians. We have 5 in our team. We have the after sales training group, which are really providing your customers that support so they get the most out of the technology on farm. And we've now introduced a tiered service support, phone support, which at the moment is sitting across our milking intelligence and our monitoring business. But long term, I see that as something that will benefit this group in the room as well. And then lastly, down there in the black is the manufacturing and product development at R&D, and I'm extremely proud of the investment that MSD's made to this in New Zealand. We have 3 sites, identification in Palmerston North, there's about 50 people there. The automation business, which sits up in Maui Street in Hamilton, around 30 there with a very large R&D team. And then our biopharma manufacturing site, which is what we call our head office here in Wellington, which I work from, where we're making a large number of vaccines, and I'll talk to that later on in my presentation. So all in all, that's just under about 300 people servicing the livestock business here in New Zealand. Pretty exciting footprint, and hopefully give you some idea of the scale and the investment and the opportunity that MSD sees in the New Zealand market. We are leading in a number of areas. The other one I wanted to speak to was, it's a question I get asked by so many of you, less so now to be honest, but it's like, why? Why would a company the size of MSD, has a huge human health component, the animal health part is only about 10% of MSD globally, but why is it investing so heavily in technology? And you guys know all this, but the demand is growing despite the many plant-based, swap outs for animal proteins. It's growing, and we're told that we need to actually, globally meet food demand by 9 billion people in 2050. We make about enough protein in New Zealand for about 40 million. That's all. It's not a lot, right? It's quite a lot considering we export most of it. But also we know that we have limited ability to increase our supply. And so we can't grow our flock and our herd. And when I went through vet school and did those first ag papers in year 2, they all talked about production per farm. But now I don't believe we can have a cow on a dairy farm that isn't performing, and we need to be able to help our customers identify it. Every cow counts. Food safety, this is huge. And I think as we come out of the COVID era, public are really interested in their food safety. It's not about being organic only now. It's about where did that food come from? Is it being ethically produced? What products are being used? Is it really Angus from New Zealand? Is it all of those components? They want to know that. And that's all about protecting New Zealand Inc. Animal health, well, this is a group here, isn't it? We all know it's about disease control. It's about minimising the impact before it impacts the supply and production and animal welfare. And sustainability, which I will speak to in a minute. But sustainability means a lot of different things to a lot of people. But to me, it's about optimising every resource we have. And it's about MSD as a company here in New Zealand. Have we got our social licence to actually operate? And making sure our house is in order and we meet those sustainability goals. And animal welfare, we know that we are really about preserving animal health, well-being. So yes, sustainability, and I think we've all seen these sort of graphs. There is the environment component, reducing carbon footprint, packaging, waste, the social trends, the way we treat our employees, our business partners. Are we a good neighbour? Are we a community member? Are we really invested in what happens in New Zealand right here every day? The economic, implementing and supporting sustainable business practices, and that's with you guys in the room as well. And I think when I look at that diagram, the three that pop out for me is it has to be bearable, has to be equitable, viable, and by gosh, it has to be sustainable in the long term. And we're doing a lot of work in this space. A few I want to share to you is around, I guess, the commitment to animals and our community. And this is actually, I pinched this out of a global slide, it's all in US dollars. But just to give you an idea of the scale and investment that MSD is contributing to our communities that reflect animals. So obviously a lot in charitable donations, a lot of partners, organisations over a number of countries, working with animals dedicated to guidance, rehabilitation, and of course protecting our wildlife. I'm not going to read them all. One of the important areas for us in New Zealand, and I will speak to this in the next slide, is around what are we doing around also supporting our veterinary business and our up-and-coming leaders in the New Zealand environment. But I think one thing that brings it back to home is, I'm really proud of this actually, so MSD sponsors a search and rescue helicopter. It's actually branded Allflex MSD Animal Health on the side of it. And someone popped into my office on Friday, and this really took me by surprise, which is why I added this in. was one of my colleagues at Upper Hutt, and he came to tell me how one of his relatives had a serious injury out mountain biking, and how much relief they were when the helicopter turned up to pick him up. And then was a sense of pride when he saw the branding with All Flex and MSD on the side. Really quite important. We don't take this to the market, guys, because this is actually what we feel that we need to do back to our community. Hopefully you don't ever get to see it. So what about the commitment to our future veterinarians and leaders? You know, I'm a very proud Massey graduate, and actually looking at you all here today, I feel like I could even be in one of those lecture theatres. And, you know, the veterinary scholarship, the student scholarship program is very strong within MSD globally. And here in New Zealand, we're tapping into that resource now to support our students at Massey. So there's a number of areas there: the undergraduate academia program, assisting with immunology and calf health, the MSD Animal Health Academic Excellence program, rewarding those outstanding students, and then through the World Veterinary Association in partnership, MSD has veterinary scholarships program, and the last round was around about 45 scholarships awarded globally. 3 of those came back to New Zealand, which I was absolutely ecstatic about. There's a lot of vet schools throughout the world, and 2 of those were New Zealand veterinarians, and 1 was from the international school. So I think that's a really good story, guys, that I really wanted to share with you. What about that sustainability word? To be honest, 5 years ago, if you told me about sustainability, I would have thought about the little, you know, my recycling bin, which unfortunately sometimes is overflowing outside, thinking about, you know, that's about sustainability. It's a lot more to that now, but just a couple of focus areas which hopefully you guys have noticed. Our cold chain product is now coming with biodegradable wool insulation rather than polystyrene. Certainly a good way to support our New Zealand wool industry as well. Hopefully you've seen in supporting the collection sites for the Vaxi packs that we're doing with Ag Recovery. There's also another group we've set up now to look into recycling all of the technology that we're putting on farms. And here's a fun fact. For those of you that are in the sheep industry, when you reach for your Campivax this year, just remember that actually the energy supporting that manufacturing process, a lot of it is coming from solar panels now driving the Bendigo site in Australia. Those of you that are prescribing MSD dry cows, and I know you're prescribing it responsibly, you'll notice the packaging looks different this year. That's a part of our sustainability efforts as well. Our team no longer are just in petrol or diesel vehicles, we'll move to hybrids, and a big area of focus is removing animal testing. So our Leptovoid range, Rotavet Corona, no longer have the animal testing component in it. It's a long haul getting that past the regulators, believe me, but it is worth it, and it is worth the investment for the long haul. And then finally, I just wanted to talk about manufacturing and where we sit on the global stage. So there's 2 stories here, really. There's the fact that when you belong to a big global company that has multiple manufacturing sites, it's great because we get to draw off resources throughout the world. On the flip side of that, of course, I'm a Kiwi, so it's all about us, isn't it? It's all about what happens here in New Zealand. And I'm also very proud of the investment that MSD has made to manufacturing here in New Zealand and the permanent nature of that. So in New Zealand, look at that, 3 sites for manufacturing. And I'm going to share with you a little bit of the journey that's going on at Upper Hutt at the moment. Now, a few of you I know have been to Upper Hutt, and when this aerial photo was taken, the actual rebuild was underway. So MSD's on a 5-year plan to upgrade the Upper Hutt site. So just so you kind of get an idea of the scale, at the moment, this site makes about 250,000 litres of vaccine, which is about 120 to 130 million doses of vaccines. 85% is exported around the world, so we're draining off 15%, and it gets exported to 65 countries around the world. And I want to thank you guys in the room that are supporting MSD Clostridial vaccines especially, because that is why we have this resource in New Zealand and why we are investing heavily. The upgrade project that's underway, and it's in the hundreds of millions of dollars of investment. It's in the multiples, let's leave it at that. We have about 150 people involved in the manufacturing of the vaccines and another 70 there at the moment working on contracts. It's a very, very busy area in New Zealand, and when this is finished, this will be the largest global clostridial vaccine manufacturing plant in the world. And hey, am I proud? Very proud that that's in here in New Zealand, and once again really grateful for your support in this area. Here's a bit of a project, what it looks like when I drop down to the cafeteria for my morning coffee. It's massive, the actual infrastructure that's going into this site. The manufacturing site works 7 days a week now, and it's working around this type of construction. And of course that is part of our 3 different sites in New Zealand. But this is what's going on here at Upper Hutt. Pretty exciting. So it is a commitment to our future. We're committed to the investment in New Zealand, research and development, manufacturing, and bringing innovative solutions, whether that be in the technology space, whether that be in the biopharma. And I'm happy to say, and I'm confident enough to say that next year we will have 2 new innovative products registered in New Zealand, which truly will be innovative. We're focused on sustainability, and we really thank you for your efforts to get on board with sustainability initiatives. It's not about driving sales. It's about being in partnership to make a difference to our footprint and reducing our footprint, and partnering with veterinarians. You know, you're going to hear a lot about technology over the next couple of days. And, you know, the technology wave's here, guys. And for those of you that I've spoken to, you know that I believe veterinarians must be centre of this drive for technology adoption. We do not want technology to be the new shiny thing that farmers get, and we've all seen it, right? But they don't get the most out of it. They're not engaged for the future, and it's an exciting area to be, and we don't see it as technology or biopharma. It's one solution that we're certainly bringing your way. So thank you. That's all from me, and I'll hand it back to Penny, who's going to announce the first speaker. Enjoy today, guys. Enjoy tomorrow. I hope you're all tagged up, because you know there could be a little chip in here that I can keep an eye on you all. Make sure that your rumination right's doing well, and make sure you're all listening. And we might even track you down tonight in case you get lost. Thanks, guys.